According to Nobel Prize-winning economist Simon Kuznets, there are 4 types of economies: developed, developing, Japan, and Argentina. That's because Argentina is one of the biggest economic paradoxes in history. At the start of the 20th century, it was one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Fast forward to today, and it has battled inflation rates of over 200%, 6 different currencies in the last 50 years, and 5 economic collapses. But now, Argentina is at a crossroads. With its new libertarian president, Javier Milei, slashing regulations and pushing radical economic reforms, could the country finally be turning a corner? And what does that mean for startups, venture capital, and the future of innovation in Argentina? Let's break it all down. Argentina's story begins in the 1500s when the Spanish colonized the region, bringing with them cattle, horses, and farming techniques that shaped the country's economic foundation. The Argentine people won their independence in 1816, and for a while, the country thrived. But then came Juan Perón. Elected in 1946, Perón pushed heavy socialist policies, increased government control, and nationalized industries. His wife, Eva Perón, became a legendary figure. Some people loved her, some people viewed her as a master of public manipulation. Adored by the people for her focus on social justice and even labor rights. The problem? Perón's policies skyrocketed inflation by over 200% since 1948. Perón resigned in 1955, but Argentina entered a cycle of economic collapse, one-term policies, military coups, and hyperinflation. Funny enough, Perón actually had somebody else come in, win the presidency, and step down so that he could take over the presidency once again. So then he died a few months into office, but that's a different story. By the 1980s, Argentina's economy was a mess, and the military dictatorship collapsed after a humiliating loss to the British in the Falkland Islands. The 90s brought stability and an economic boom, but in 1998, Argentina crashed into a brutal recession that lasted until 2002. Fast forward to the 2000s, and Nestor Kirchner helped stabilize things, only for his wife, Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner, to tank the economy again with corruption scandals. Today, Argentina has a 40% poverty rate, a history of government overspending, and an unstable currency. But a new president is making waves. In December 2023, Javier Milei won the presidency with 56% of the vote, becoming the most radical libertarian leader on the planet. Milei believes that Argentina's biggest problem is government overreach and endless debt, and he's making some drastic moves. First off, he got inflation down. He slashed the inflation rate from 25.5% per month to just 2.7% in 1 year. First budget surplus of 15 years. The government actually spent less than it earned. He had major government cuts. He shut down 9 ministries, fired 30,000 government employees, and cut the budget by 30%. He's really on a big deregulation spree. And if you're here in America, you might be able to relate to this. He's been rolling out almost 2 deregulations per day since taking office. That's on average. One of his boldest moves has been lifting rent controls. Now, this one's very divisive. The result, housing supply tripled and rent prices dropped by 50%. Now he's pushing for dollarization, replacing the unstable Argentine peso with the US dollar as the official currency. Whether you agree with his policies or not, one thing is clear. Argentina hasn't seen this level of change in decades. But how is this affecting startups and venture capital? Despite all the instability, Argentina has one of the most promising startup ecosystems in Latin America. They have over 1,200 startups, which is a 25% increase from the year 2020. They have over $10 billion combined of Argentina's GDP. And the key sectors that they tend to focus on are agriculture, energy, and tech, just to name a few. But there's a catch. In 2021, venture capital hit $2.1 billion being invested into startups. But because of the economy, by about 2024, it dropped back down to $400 million being invested in startups in Argentina. It's a sign that investors are very cautious right now, especially with this new president coming in. I think everybody was just kind of waiting to see what he was going to do, especially whenever a president is wielding a chainsaw in his campaign. You never really know where you should be investing right now. Some of the biggest VC firms investing in Argentina include Alaya Capital, Draper Cygnus, NXTP Ventures, Kazakh, and Magma Partners. In Argentina's success stories, the first biggest one that might come to mind if you know anything about the South American market is Mercado Libre, the Amazon of Latin America, and they're also a giant payments platform as well. The second one, Despegar. They're the leading travel booking platform in Latin America. The biggest opportunities right now are in energy and agriculture. Argentina holds the second largest shale gas reserves and the fourth largest shale oil reserves in the world. Gas production jumped from 80 million to 100 million cubic meters per day in just 2 years. And if trends continue, it could more than double by 2034. And with Milei's new RIGI initiative, a foreign investment is pouring into Argentina. The country's risk premium, a measure of kind of how risky it is to invest in Argentina, dropped from 2,500 to 750 in just 1 year. For the first time in decades, Argentina's investment to GDP ratio is above the Latin American average. So is Argentina finally ready to break free from its cycle of economic collapse? Argentina has been through 5 economic collapses, 6 currencies, and dozens of failed government policies. But now, with Javier Milei's radical economic shift, a booming startup ecosystem, and a surge in foreign investment, could Argentina finally be on the path to long-term stability? Or will history repeat itself? What do you think? Is Milei's vision of what Argentina needs? Or is it just another temporary boom before another bust? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more country breakdowns on startup ecosystems around the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.